Hello, 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 everyone. You already know who it is, but in case you need a slight reminder, I do not mind giving that to you. It is your best friend, your good Judy, your next door neighbor, your niece, your nephew, your cousin, your great auntie, and your gunkle. It is Norman J. Liverpool the fourth, and I am so excited that you are joining us for another edition of the Council of Guncles. Now, listen, I know it's confusing because I'm still using the "What's the LGBT" intro. Listen, we're doing the best we can, but this is the Council of Guncles, and thank you for tuning in. We have an amazing show planned for you tonight. So I want you to take a minute, get your cocktail, get your mocktail, and come on in the room. So, my disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed by the guests of what's the Council of Guncles are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Council of Guncles or Over the Top Living. The topic tonight is a little sensitive and fun, and is viewer discretion is advised. Okay, we'll put it like that. So we're skipping all of the announcements. We're skipping all the news because, baby, wait till you see who we have for you. So tonight's guest is the amazing Dr. Carlton. Okay, y'all? Y'all already know him because like 123,000 of us are following him on TikTok. Dr. Carlton is a gay GI doctor who was raised in an uber conservative tobacco town in the Deep South, but somehow made his way to training at the Mayo Clinic for his top tier medical education. He landed his dream job in San Diego, where he is married to a great guy, he says, and has 2 kids. While he serves the entire community's medical needs, he is particularly proud to serve the local LGBTQ plus community in San Diego as a healthcare resource without judgment or shame. He stumbled onto TikTok during the pandemic and realized the need and the hunger for anal sex education, #buttsex. And not just from the LGBTQ family, but from women and straight men interested in #buttplay. So many people are embarrassed to talk about anal sex or ask questions about it, but let's face it, most people want to know how to do it right, do it well, and do it safely. #butt stuff. But who better to ask than a gay GI doctor himself, who knows not only the medical side of things, but is no stranger to anal sex himself. I am so excited. So I'm going to bring all of our guncles and our guest gunkle. We have my mouse. Gunkle Adrian, Gunkle Brian, Gunkle Daniel, and Dr. Carlton. Hi, everyone.
Woohoo! Woohoo! What's up?
Daniel, I love your baby face.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know why I decided to shave, but I'm going with it.
I love it.
Thank
you. Dr. Carlton, we are so excited to just have you here on our platform. And we just want to honor you for taking your time to be here with us on the Council of Guncles. So aside from what I read that you provided, go ahead and introduce yourself to all the nibblings out there.
Well, I am a gastroenterologist in San Diego, California. I like you were saying, I'm married to a great guy, former Navy corpsman. We met at the gym, like I guess a lot of people do. I have 2 amazing kids who basically hate me right now because of COVID-19, because I won't let them do anything. But that's the beauty of having teenagers. That being said, having teenagers right now in this pandemic, they're off in their own little world. They're off in their own little social media. So that kind of left a big space for me at home. They don't need me anymore. So I kind of stumbled onto TikTok. I saw a video of one of my favorite TikTokers talking about, he was a straight guy, talking about how he wasn't quite sure how he felt about his wife sticking her finger in his ass when she gave him a blowjob. And so I made a TikTok about it and said, dude, I didn't know what made my eyes roll back into my head until somebody stuck their finger in my ass and gave me a blowjob. Like, that was everything. So I made that video and things just kind of took off. And then I did how to do anal sex right. Clean out, lubrication, stretching so you don't get torn. And within a week, that had 1.5 million views. So things just kind of really took off on TikTok. And here we are 6 months later, I've got 123,000 followers, and half of them are women. So it's not just gay dudes out there. So it's been an amazing ride, so to speak.
Well, we are so excited. I know Adrian is actually the gunkle that turned me on to you. And
Thank you, Adrian.
And he was like, no, we need to connect with him. He was like, his stuff is so great. He was like, we need to. And so I am just so happy that that you're able to join us. So let's go right into it. So one of the statistics that I found today was the Gay Men's Health Project that said that only 38% of people say that they are not happy with their sex life. And I was like thrown about, like, how are so many people not pleased with their sex life? Like, I don't get that. Would you say in the situation that you weren't, I mean, Adrian, like if you weren't pleased?
There's a lot to unpack with that one. I think the first part for me, I don't think I've ever been yeah, I have, now that I think about it. There was that one time at band camp. No, I think what it comes down to is that it's for men in general, regardless of sexuality. I think a lot of it plays into who people think we should be, how we were raised. And when people have something that they're interested in, they're usually really not quick to jump on it. That wasn't me, by the way. I kind of did what I did. But yeah, I can see where that could be a problem.
I just know for me, like I just would find it difficult to remain in a situation like that. Maybe it's just me.
Oh no.
Yeah. I think that so they're asking gay people, or are they asking the general population that?
No, this was gay people.
Okay.
This was 38% of gay people in their study. I think that they interviewed close to like 3,500 people, and this is gay males. That 38% didn't enjoy their sex life.
Well, I mean, I think gay people in general, I mean, I'm not the stereotype, but I think we have men, let's just say this, men in general, men have a high sex drive. And for some people, nothing is enough. So I think you have to keep that in mind. There are people who you go on a Grindr hookup with, you get done, and you look at them, and they have their phone open on Grindr for the next hookup already. So those are the kind of people who are not happy with their sex life.
Well, I guess that's it. So I want to get into some of the questions that we got. So Adrian and I made a post, and people had emailed us questions in. And so the first question I had never even heard of, so we're going to throw it out for the council. Legit question. In gay porn, I see a lot of guys talking about creaming. What is it exactly, and is it healthy? Does anybody know what creaming is?
It is a why am I answering
Wait,
this?
is that the thing where you
Yeah, go ahead.
No clue.
It is a combination of reserved water, debris, and lubrication.
Yeah, it's what we used to call. It's what we used to call Santorum back when Rick Santorum was. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wait, so what is it again?
So it's like mucus and you know, debris that's left over the lube. Just a lot of.
How does one get creamy?
When it expels, it looks white most times. Sometimes a little more clear. But after you have experienced anal sex for some time, as in years, you tend to be able to control that muscle a little bit more, and those liquids can come out, and it looks similar to the female reaction to sexual arousal.
Are you talking about like cream pies? Is that what this is?
Well, no. That's something else.
It's just part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope.
This.
Right. I'm like, I hope that answers your question to the anonymous person. So apparently it is when all your juices, you hold them up real good and then you let it flow. Like, like Tony Braxton says.
Hey.
Now,
Okay.
Dr. Carlton, this person
Mhm.
also follows up and says, "Is this healthy? And what causes it?" So, I mean, is there some more to this creaming stuff that we don't know about?
Well, no, I think it's just a normal reaction. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not unhealthy. It's just something that happens with different people's bodies. Some people have a tendency to build more mucus down there in the rectum. Even like when people with irritable bowel syndrome, their rectum gets a little irritated, they form a little bit of mucus, and the mucus just kind of discharges out. So a lot of people will ask me, "Oh, I had this like slimy stuff come out when I take a poop. What is that?" And I'm like, "Well, that's just mucus." So I think that's probably part of what's happening there. Just irritation from the penetration.
Okay.
And there's nothing unhealthy about it. It's actually a protective mechanism.
All right. So, hey, if you cream, like, share, and subscribe to this channel. If you are a creamer, I mean, go on ahead and share this with someone. Share it with your creaming buddies.
I feel like we should have Prince in the background.
Huh?
Right?
I feel like we should have Prince playing in the background.
So, Brian, I saw that your face was kind of like, what? So, I mean, what is your reaction to this creaming?
This, I thought a lot, but I have to say, I have never, ever heard of this, and I'm just fascinated.
All right, well, we might have to circle back to this.
I-
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's not universal, so don't worry if it doesn't happen to you.
Oh, so not everybody can do this.
No.
It doesn't happen with everybody.
Gunkle Daniel, do you be creaming?
No, not that I know of, and I don't know anybody who has either.
Shade.
It hasn't been felt in my life.
The shade.
I gotta ask somebody because I don't know if I have either. I need to figure out if I be
I don't know.
creaming.
It's a regional thing because Guncles, Adrian and I are just about the same age, and you know all about it, and I know nothing. So maybe it's a East Coast West Coast thing. I don't know.
Once again, recovering hoe.
Right. Uh-oh, wait, Daniel, I cream. Now you know.
Come on, Ezra.
Hey, Ezra. Shout out to Ezra. Ezra is my amazing friend. He actually lives close to you, Guncle Adrian. He's up in the Pacific Northwest.
Okay, awesome.
He's an amazing person. I don't want to get his title wrong, but he deals with the spirits, and he reads cards and does all of that amazing stuff. So Ezra, thank you so much for tuning in. Also, thank you for all of the viewers from TikTok and Instagram that are here. Also, shout out to Miss Jade Unique, who is one of the sponsors of Over the Top Living from Juicy Beauty Bundles. We are so happy to have you here. So our next question. I feel like we could talk about creaming all night, though. Like, that's the
Let's
thing.
not.
Oh,
we got so much stuff to get to, honey.
I know. So
Yeah.
the next question says, Dr. Carlton, what are things I can watch out for as a gay bottom?
Okay, that's a good question. So the number one thing I think that gay men should be aware of, especially bottoms, is that we need a certain amount of attention to our anal rectal health. So when you go in and you get checked for STDs, you need to have your butt swabbed because you get things stuck up your butt. So, I personally, I went to a PrEP appointment, and I had a new doctor who, because he was the only one on my insurance who was doing PrEP and who would see me, and he was straight and had no idea. So I came to do my PrEP labs, and he gave me a little cup to pee in, and I'm like, "Oh, honey, I put things here, I put things there, and then I put things, I put this other places too. So you're going to have to check everywhere. So sometimes you have to educate your doctors about what you do and where you put things. So, you need to have, if you're sexually active, if you're not using protection, and let's face it, a lot of guys aren't now with PrEP, you need to have your anus swabbed every 3 months for STDs. Once a year, you should actually have an anal pap smear to check for HPV. If you haven't had HPV and you're kind of new to activity, or you're on the younger side, the HPV vaccine is a good way to prevent anal warts and anal cancer. People who have anal warts and from HPV and HIV together have a 70 times increased risk for anal cancer over the general population. So it's a really critical thing for people to know about. I've had guys that I've gone in and to do an exam on, and I get inside their rectum and it's just carpeted with warts. So, and that's something you can't see from the outside. So you really do need to be examined by someone who knows what they're doing back there. So your STIs, your prevention of STIs with vaccine. I think PrEP is a huge thing for everybody if you're a bottom, because if you're a bottom, you're at more risk of HIV, and it's complete. There's no excuse these days coming forward as long as you have access to PrEP to protect yourself. I mean, I don't want to say that there's no excuse. That sounds judgmental, and I don't want to be like that at all. But moving forward, I would like to see it where our younger gay population doesn't have to worry about HIV because PrEP is available.
Well, that actually brings us into the next question. And then after this one, we have some questions for the whole round table. So the next question says, what do you do when someone feels embarrassed with their doctor?
Well, one of the great things about national healthcare these days, there's a website called GLMA, or Gay and Lesbian Medical Association. The GLMA is an organization of gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender doctors who are also LGBT friendly. So you can put your zip code in on the glma.org website and find a doctor that is gay friendly. So if you don't feel comfortable with your doctor, or you're not connecting with your doctor, and you're in an area that has a doctor through that website, you can connect with a doctor who you would probably feel more comfortable with. And it's an amazing resource. A lot of gay doctors don't even know about it. I've been trying to spread the word through TikTok and through Instagram about it. But, if you're in rural Alabama, the likelihood of you being able to find a gay doctor in your area is a lot lower than if you were in San Francisco or New York. But it is a resource.
Thank you for that. So for those of you that may just be tuning in, you can go to GLMA to find an LGBTQ friendly doctor. Now, the next question is for all of us, y'all.
Okay.
Does size really matter?
Yeah.
We're gonna start with Guncles Daniel.
I think it truly depends on what role you want to play. I think, and really, I think you can make almost anything work. I think I've had the smallest and the largest maybe on the scales, and it's interesting to find what somebody who is smaller wants to do, or that they want to be a top sometimes, and then a lot of the bottoms seem to be much more well endowed. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic. I don't know, but I like it. So it's fun.
All right, y'all, take the floor away. What, does size really matter? What's up, Brian?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Why?
It just, well, being versed, I've got a big ass. So if somebody's going to be small, then it's not really going to work that way. And it just kind of turns into more of a
humping your back type situation.
Oh, thank you. Oh, baby type thing. So from my perspective, yes, the size does matter.
Okay. All right. What about you? I know Guncles. Hey, look at his wheels are just turning, girl.
Well, no, honestly, it's very much like going to Krispy Kremes. Who goes and just gets the regular ones? I need a variety. It depends on the type of day, where the moon is setting, what I had to eat the day before. You look, everything can be worked around. But the most important thing beyond size is the actual activity itself. There should be more done before penetration than
Oh,
just
yes.
going straight to it. So how you enjoy yourself is going to really depend on the participation and the creativity prior to the penetration.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah.
Dr. Carlton, does size matter?
Size matters, but in a way you might not think. For me, anyway, I've been with some guys when they took their pants off and I looked down and I was like, there's no way that's getting anywhere near my asshole. I'm sorry. We're talking like a baby leg. So I'm like, am I supposed to burp that or am I supposed to have sex with it? So so yeah, I mean, I think that for me, somewhere in the middle is just fine. It's great. But yeah, it takes some work to get those bigger ones in there. But hey, I've got a lot of tips on how to do that.
Yes, and we're coming to that because we
Okay.
actually had some of your TikTok people messaging about that. But for me, I'm gonna tell you like this. I remember like several years ago, I was kind of talking to this guy, and he was really nervous to show me his dick. Like, I'm just gonna be very honest. He was like super, super nervous because back then I was very small and very petite. You know, I was like in my early 20s, and he, very similar to what Dr. Carlton said, we were just sitting on the couch and he whipped this thing out and I felt like it went like whoosh. And I was like, and so for me, literally, I still remember like it was yesterday. Like I heard it, let's like flop, like, and I was like, oh my God. And so I said, well, what do you want me to do with that? And so I like kissed it, and that was it. I'm like, okay, well, I gotta go. Like, cause they're like, I don't even think my mouth could open that much. Like, I don't like. It's crazy. Like how you have like this wide range of sizes. Like, why did he have to get all of that, and then this one over here didn't get none of it?
Have you ever been surprised by a dick? Like you thought you saw a guy and you're like, he's got a small dick, no big deal. And then he pulls it out and you're like, oh shit.
Because the thing about it is though, with that, you be talking a good game, like, oh, I can handle that. I'm gonna turn it off on you and do all of this. And then they whip that thing out and you sit down and shut the fuck up.
Understand, your height has nothing to do with this.
No.
5'4"
And
Cuban
skinny,
in Miami.
and this is it be them skinny ones that have that big old donkey cock.
Right.
Like I said, I used to be skinny.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, and on guys that short and that small, it's like a tripod. Unfortunately, I'm 6'4", so it doesn't really I don't get the advantage.
Wow. All right, so our next question, I'm going to start with Guncles Daniel. The next question that came in is, do truly verse people really exist? And this was coming from the framework of like these people who are claiming to be like strict tops or like strict bottoms and like all of that. Does a truly versatile person exist? Meaning that someone who equally enjoys topping. Okay, I know that's right, Kanaya. We don't play the mess nor the crap. My friend Kanaya from Chicago is on here. Hey, girl. But
hey, Kanaya.
Do truly verse people exist in your opinion? Like someone that could either take it either way and be equally as satisfying?
I would have to say yes, and I think it's somebody who's probably been open enough to experience things. Like think of a bisexual person. I know a lot of people say there's no such thing of that either, but I do believe that there can truly be people who like to play on both sides of everything. And I know I've liked to play on both sides of everything. I tend to lean more one way than the other, but hey, Jazzy. So yeah, I don't know. I definitely think it exists.
Okay. What about the rest of y'all, Hanny?
Absolutely. Right here.
Okay, now let's delve into that. Let's delve into that.
All
So I guess for me, maybe because I've not experienced this, like I don't know. Talk to me about that, because I personally, I'm not like that.
Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
Yes.
It's not. So for me, it's not a role. You know what I mean? Like I'm not.
Right.
a lot of people will be like, well, I asked, so I'm going to be a top. Oh, no, honey, really, you're not. Sit down.
No, you're not.
I'm going to show you what a top is, okay?
Right. Oh.
Girl, just I went back.
But for the truly versed people, and I think it might have something to do with not only am I getting satisfaction out of the action, but I'm getting satisfaction knowing that I'm pleasing somebody that way.
Right.
So that, I mean, I just break it down to not being a role. It's how do you feel inside? What is the connection that you're making at that moment?
Don't you feel that people that say they're total tops and they're just strictly tops and they won't do anything else and they're not going to go there? Do you think that part of that is just toxic masculinity in a way?
Yeah.
Well,
Like they're afraid they're going to be deemed as effeminate by taking a dick in their ass.
Yeah,
well,
you know,
not
welcome to the label.
toxic masculinity, but there's also the fear that they have of the unknown. So they have to stay in control, and that's why they think that they're a top, where actually the person controlling everything is the bottom at the moment. But
Right.
you know, it's just an impression or an insecurity within themselves that prevents them from experiencing other types of pleasure.
Yeah.
I almost would love to start a campaign to just get rid of those titles. Straight people
Right.
don't have top bottom titles, because when it really boils down to it, just be open.
Right.
That's all being verse is. You're just open. It's not going to be every day. We're not going to be flip flopping every day. Some days I'm lazy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw the D down. I'm gonna roll over, have a donut, and go to sleep.
Mhm.
Other
Oh,
days,
you
I'm
gonna
look,
have a Krispy Kreme?
Krispy Kreme.
yeah. Other days, I might feel like I'm a Circus Olay performer. I want to do it all.
All right.
Just do you and find somebody that can be open enough to explore with you and, pop a cork. Get
But
it in.
Mhm.
So
That's right.
is people aren't secure within their own self to be able to open up to have that experience.
So
Right.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate to that comment only because and this is gonna lead us into the next question that is for Dr. Carlton. So for me, I don't know that it's necessarily a and I'm playing devil's advocate.
Sure.
That
Yeah, go ahead.
that it's necessarily a thing like they're insecure, but some people have never been taught like what we're doing today, like certain like they don't know. So that leads me to Dr. Carlton,
Sure.
the butt clock.
Right. Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
So Dr.
Look-
Carlton posted a video that I believe, at least it went viral to me, a series about the butt clock. So can you, for those of us who might want to experiment a little bit more with hashtag butt stuff, can you tell us what the butt clock is in case we want to, get it in tonight?
Well, basically, the anus is a circular muscle that's super tight at rest. I mean, super duper tight, so that things don't slip out, right? So you have your external sphincter, which is made of skeletal muscle, so you can actually control that. So you can clench it and release it and clench it and release it. And that's what a Kegel exercise is. And trust me, if you've ever had a bottom who can do that grip while they're riding you, you will never be the same as a top. But because it's amazing. But the second sphincter is the internal sphincter, and that's made out of smooth muscle, and you don't have any voluntary control over that. So what doctors use to loosen up your butthole to do an exam is a technique where you slide your finger in about a couple of inches and you laterally pull over to the side. So I say for the butt clock, I say, okay, pull over to 9 o'clock and hold. And that tight little circle is going to start expanding gently, right?
Y'all look like y'all about to try it tonight.
And then if you go from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock and hold it for about a minute, it's going to expand a little bit more. And then if you go to 12 and then down to 6, it's just good. That tight little hole is going to be able to expand so that you can put something bigger in there. Now, it may take you 30 seconds per position. It may take you several rounds all the way around, depending on how tight you are. Some guys are like abnormally tight. I've been with guys before. I was like, I'm not sure I can get my dick in there. It's just so tight, right? So it's a function of just relaxing things. So gentle pressure up against the side of the anus on the inside really does relax that tight circle so that things can go in there. And you know, you mentioned about getting bigger things in there. That's how fisting starts. You know, you do one finger, and then you get a second one in there, and then a third, and then a fourth, and then you work your thumb in there, and then you know, over time, things open up so that you can get more in there. So that's the butt clock, and you know, I just used a clever name for it just because so people could understand it.
Well, for those of you that listen, y'all don't all go out and try this all at once. Okay, I don't want to.
You said you were going to try it last night. Did you try it?
No, I actually didn't
okay.
because I ended up going out to eat, and I came home and went to sleep.
Yeah,
but I have. He sent me like a 3-series thing, like 3 different clips on how I can, as Monique would say, relax all the muscles. Wow. So
see, look, Charles Cressman there. He said that he saw it on TikTok and he's tried it and it works.
Oh, Charles. Oh, okay, Charles.
Look, honey, I got lots of testimonials. Can I get an amen?
Amen. Charles is a really, really good friend of mine. Oh, there's the boyfriend.
But seriously, that's on educating tops too.
Yeah, and honestly,
you boys need to be listening.
Yeah, this is educating the tops because you don't want to just ram it in there, honey, because that hole is tight. And if you just jam your hard dick in somebody's butthole, and I've had it happen to me before, and I fucking jumped off the table, and I'm like, I'm sorry, we're done. I can't do this anymore. It is so painful. You can cause a tear or rip in the lining of the anus, and that's called an anal fissure. And dude, that can take months to get healed, and it's fucking painful. So you really, really, really have to take some time and let that thing loosen up before you start going to Pound Town.
Well, it's interesting that you were on top of a table.
Honey.
He said he had to jump off the dinette.
I'm 6'4". It takes some positioning.
I love it. So when we're talking about, okay, we already talked about that. So someone emailed that wants the Council of Guncles to give them advice on how to spice it up in the bedroom. And they're literally wanting us to tell them how to spice it up. To give you a little background,
I need the background. Yeah.
This person has been, it's a gay couple. They've been together 6 months, and they're looking for new and creative ways to spice it up. And they emailed me asking the Guncles to give them some suggestions and on how to spice it up. So I know I'm out of that conversation. So I'm going to leave it to y'all.
So
okay.
It's simple. Drop your guard, pick something out, and try it.
Yeah.
If you like it, you like it. Don't worry about what other people are going to think. Don't worry about any stigma that may be around whatever you're going to do. Don't worry about it. If it works for you and you guys enjoy it, do it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that you can do to spice it up, from toys to, role play.
There's a whole fetish world out there that anything that you could possibly think of, there is a fetish for it.
There is, exactly, yeah.
But so I guess and just adding to that, then, so I guess a concern of people that I've, spoken to is by introducing, there was like a fear of introducing these other aspects into the bedroom for fear that they would become dependent on it. Like I've heard people say, oh, well, I really don't like my partner using poppers because I feel like every time we fuck, he has to use poppers. Or I really don't like, bringing toys into the bedroom because I feel like every single time we are in this, that it has to be that.
Well, there has to be a discussion. I mean, you have to be able to communicate with your partner, and
Right.
each of you have to be able to give and receive criticism of what's going on, because it's hardly ever is it just one person. That it takes two or more to really make a nice connection. So, but part of that has to be communication. You have to express what feels good, what doesn't feel good at the time that you're doing it. So is it going to seem a little mechanical at first? Yeah, but then that gives your partner the opportunity to learn you and what you like, and vice versa.
There's also a portion of this that is more thinking back to those things that you were first attracted to. The second thing is sex begins hours before you're actually in bed. So we've been married for coming up on 3 years. We've been together for 10 years. And one of the things that I've noticed is that you can get into a pattern to where it's just a part of the job. You know what I mean? So you got to pull back. Those slaps on the ass, those kiss on the neck, those funny, weird things we call each other, those very inappropriate things we say in Target. Those are the things that get you started. Don't lose that.
Well, you have to learn each other's love language. I mean, once you know your partner's love language, it could be the simple little things like, hey, I did the dishes, or hey, I brought you flowers, and you're right. Intercourse or sex, intimacy starts way before it hits the bedroom. It's how you conduct yourself during the day as well with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's I like that.
Yeah. But and also we have to remember as well, we don't have to be heteronormative about what our ideals are about what is okay with sex.
Right.
It's if people want to have 3 ways, then have a 3-way. That's a way to introduce it. It opens up a whole can of worms for some people because it takes a lot of communication and trust.
Mm-hmm.
But those are things that should be talked about between the partners. And whatever you decide as partners, as long as you agree on it and talk about it and set out clear guidelines, it's okay. And don't worry about what anybody thinks or what society will think or about what your mother will think. This is your body and your life.
Yep. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you. This is getting good. So our next writer, man, I'm telling you, out of all the times that we have reached out for people to comment in, I feel like, wouldn't you agree, Adrian? Like this is the most that people have commented in. And so now literally this person wrote, let's talk about HIV.
Let's do it.
And that's literally what it says. And so, I mean, how do we, as a doctor, how do we navigate? I know you have your videos on PrEP, and we've talked about PrEP. You've had videos on, lubricants and all of that. But what is it important for us to know from your perspective about HIV?
I think, and I did a video on this, I think that probably the source of the most discrimination against HIV positive men comes from the gay community.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really sad because HIV undetectable is untransmittable. The U equals U phenomenon. And a lot of people still don't get that. And a lot of people will go on Grindr or on Scruff or Growler or wherever, and they'll see a guy, they find out he's positive, and they immediately block him or shoot nasty comments or just shut him out and don't give him a chance. In this day and age, it is almost impossible to get HIV from someone who's positive but undetectable. And if you're on PrEP and they're undetectable, there is no way you're going to get HIV from them. So I think a lot of guys are missing out on experiences and possibly the loves of their lives just because of a three-letter virus. And these days it's so treatable and so manageable and so preventable that that it's really sad that so many people are shamed because of HIV.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
The stigma of HIV is hurting us way more than the actual virus.
Exactly.
Understand that does not define a person.
Exactly.
Please know that you're not going to be, this is not the 80s, people. You're not going to be skinny. You're not going to have the sores. You're not going to, it's going to be that fine ass motherfucker in the gym that's positive, but undetectable. It may be the most intelligent, most loving person in the world. And if you let one little thing like that stop you, that's on you.
Look, Uncle Adrian, you are from the same era, and I've been in healthcare for 37 years. So I was around when the AIDS epidemic really took off. And I was in some of the wards and saw some of the nurses and people treat people with AIDS. And it is very scary. And a lot of people are carrying that on and educating people about what that truly means today, because people are still holding on to that past.
Yeah,
and that really
I agree.
Gruesome image that was created back in the mid to late 80s, early.
I agree.
And today, you know, like Dr. Carlton said, if you are on an antiviral, you are undetectable, and all of your lab work is normal, the person who is HIV negative has more chance of contaminating you than you do.
Right. And
people need to understand that and educate themselves. I feel that as a community, and part of the reason why I'm doing the uncle thing is to educate that younger generation of reality, common sense, and take away that fear.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you go on Grindr, you find a guy. He says he's HIV positive, he's undetectable, he takes care of himself, he's on medications. You find guy number 2. He says he's negative, but he hasn't really tested. He has no idea. He fucks around all the time. If he hasn't been tested and his viral load is through the roof, who do you think you're going to get HIV from? Somebody who's undetectable or somebody who has a skyrocketed HIV viral load?
Absolutely.
On that note, at what level do you check people's story when they tell you that they're undetectable or they tell you that they have been tested? Who's checking to see that they were tested last month or whenever they're saying that they were tested? Or who's checking to see that this person's viral load is low enough that they're in safe limits? I mean, is anyone...
Yeah, I think the ultimate, honestly, when it comes down to it, the ultimate responsibility when you hook up with somebody is on you.
Right.
Okay. You can't be, you shouldn't let HIV be a deterrent if somebody's positive and undetectable, but the ultimate responsibility of protecting your own self is on you. 100% of the time.
In my experience, those that are responsible and are undetectable and on antivirals will tell you first before
exactly
even gets there. So for me, that's the gauge of, oh, okay, you brought that to me. That's you're being honest about this. You're being considerate about our conversation. I appreciate that. Whereas opposed to, you can get that sense of people kind of dodging questions or, shrugging questions off or something like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Honey, the children are coming up with the questions, honey.
Well, let's go.
That's why we're here. Uncle Brian.
So this is one that was sent to Adrian, and I didn't really understand it. But it says discuss sexual pleasure versus sexuality.
Yes.
Can you explain what that person meant while I get my phone charge? I mean, my computer charger, please.
You got it. There is an ongoing discussion about sexuality versus sexual pleasure. Man, this discussion started with me. It all began with a TikTok, believe it or not. A young lady went on and she basically said, this is only for straight guys. If you're not a straight guy, please continue to scroll. And she just simply asked, are you mad that your G-spot is in your asshole? And it made me think, oh, that's a little deeper than I anticipated. Because honestly, the things that you find that the things that feel good to you feels good to you. It does not identify your sexuality. When I lived in Vegas, when I first moved back to Vegas, I worked at an adult retail store. One of the things that I got out of it was the fact that out of all of our straps and all of our dildos, I had never, in the 8 months that I worked there, ever sold one to a lesbian or a gay couple. It's always been straight men and straight couples, which goes back to they were comfortable in the things that felt good to them, and that's what they went with. Guys, if your nipples are sensitive, oh, baby, enjoy it.
Oh, honey,
If a finger up your ass takes you to the moon and back, put on a damn outfit and be ready for it.
Girl,
Yes, NASA. You know, earlobes, the brush of a hair, just somebody brushing your hair, or someone licking your neck. No matter what that thing is, the toe thing, not my thing, but I understand. Whatever that is, it is serious. It is the only thing it is your body's reaction to a touch or a stimulus. That's all it is. It's biology. It's not sexuality.
And I have a TikTok on it as well. I said, butt stuff doesn't have a gender, doesn't have an orientation, is pleasurable, and is not shame, is not a source of shame. It's everybody's got one.
Yeah.
Everybody's got one. So why not, it's just lots of nerves there. Why not feel good?
And that's very true, but you also have to take into consideration that growing up and whatever that culture of that person is may them or put fear.
Oh, that's dude, that's 100% of it right there.
So that purge that you have to muster up in yourself and just know that the only other person, or maybe not, maybe by yourself, whatever the case may be, are only going to know whoever's in that room. And you can let go and not worry about what society thinks or what society expects. That's going to put you on a whole nother level of being able to experience new and broader things.
Right.
I'm going to add this. Boys, those that are curious, those that are just wondering, just do a quick Google search for Tenga, Tenga. From beginner to expert. Find what makes you happy and find what feels good. Dude, just get out there and do it. Your pleasure points start with you. Yeah. So you don't have to worry about what society says or how you were raised. Start finding out what feels good with you. And then in time, you'll find the comfort to explore that with someone else.
And it's funny that you say that, because for me, well, y'all know, I went through a separation and divorce earlier this year. And for me, I just started getting excited about exploring my own body. Do you know what I'm saying? What I like. Do I like to go like this? Or do I like, you're talking about the nipples and all of these other things, trying to figure out what I like. Because I found that sometimes we go into these situations and we don't even know what we like. Exactly. And so it's maybe that contributes to the 38% of gay people who say they are not pleasured in sex because they don't know what they like. And so they can't communicate that. And I feel for me, now that I'm, turning 35, I feel like I'm just now, honestly, I literally feel like I'm just now realizing what it is that I truly like in the bedroom. Does anyone else? Am I the only one?
yeah,
No.
still discovering.
Life didn't start till I was 42. So, you know, for me, I felt like the whole thing just kind of shifted. So you got some good stuff ahead of you.
Yay. Well, what were you going to say, Guncle Daniel?
I think the energies have shifted for sure. I feel like I was kind of prudish and vanilla, and I'm very much branching out of the vanilla space these days. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. So just so that you know, y'all, if you look at Guncle Daniel's hat, it tells you what he's looking for. It says D for D. Okay. So if you want to connect with Guncle Daniel, he has told you that he is not vanilla. He has told you that he is versatile, honey. He is giving you
Come
all
on, Match.com.
right. Listen, I'm telling you, over the top living, bringing people together. So if you or someone you know,
What about me?
well, we need to get you a D for B. We need to get you a D for B hat.
B for
Okay,
B.
so I know my sister is D for B. I get all of our merchandise through Hungry Hustle. So I know they're watching Hungry Hustle. We need a replica of the D for D for Brian that says D for B. But I'm saying, so Daniel, you know, he's put himself out there as many months as we've been working together. He's told you what he's looking for. He's broadcasting it on his forehead, y'all. Y'all better hit my boy out.
Literally. No.
No, hit him up. And you can hit him from the front or the back.
Yeah, that's true. This is true.
I love that. Or for Brian too. If you guys got some D for B, hit Brian up. You see him, he's ready. He is ready. And you see how he maybe he got a cream a little bit.
Look, I was in a relationship for 23 years, so I was sheltered. I'm experiencing my inner hoe right now, okay?
This viewer says, I didn't start with men until I was 53. I'm married to a guy now. My husband is so open to trying new things in our sex life. That's awesome.
I think that's the best. Somebody who's been repressed that long. There's a lot to get out, honey.
Ooh.
Baby.
Do you know what it reminds me of, Dr. Carlton? I can't remember if it was on your Instagram or on your TikTok, where it was like me with my boyfriend, and then it's like and then it's like me with my boyfriend's dad or something.
Yeah, and it was like,
yeah, yeah, I love that. Oh, Jaden Nazaria says, boys, just give it a try. Explore your body.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Definitely.
Jeff actually posted a question. I'm going to turn this to Dr. Carlton. Jeff asks, what is an anal pap test?
So just like women get a pap smear of their cervix to check for cervical dysplasia, which is precancer, gay men really, I think, should get a swab of their anus to get cells to look under the microscope for precancerous cells there too. Like I mentioned before, HPV, or human papillomavirus, is the virus that causes anal warts. It's the same virus that causes cervical cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So that those anal warts can also lead to anal cancer, and I think that's how Farrah Fawcett died. Just to name a celebrity who's died of anal cancer. So by getting in there, if you see dysplastic cells, then you can go on and have further, more careful looks at the anal tissue with a high resolution anoscopy, just to make sure that there's nothing going on back there. Because, honey, the last thing you want is butthole cancer. You know, you want to preserve that piece of your life, right?
Nothing's been like a colostomy bag.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, and nothing against people with colostomy bag, but they would tell you in a minute if they could not have one, they would be happier.
Absolutely. I've had many that are, man, if I could get rid of this, I would. And
but that brings us to another question that we have is, as gay men, when should we start doing all of this? Like, when should we start getting checked out, having these colonoscopies, having the anal paps, having all of this stuff? At what age would you say that we should actually start doing this regularly?
Well, I think if you're sexually active as a bottom, whenever you start, it's like with women. As soon as girls are sexually active, they're getting pap smears every year. So I think that men should be getting pap smears as soon as they've been sexually active, at least for a few years back there. especially if it's unprotected sex at all. All it takes is once. I had a friend of mine who I did a colonoscopy on, and he bottomed one time 20 years ago. One time 20 years ago, and I found an anal wart on the inside of his anus when I did his colonoscopy, and it turned out to be high-grade dysplasia, which is one step below anal cancer. And he was able to get it safely taken care of and lasered off, and everything was fine. But one time is all it takes.
Yeah.
So,
y'all better go to GLMA, find you a LGBTQ friendly doctor, and have them do that colonoscopy. Honey, have them put that camera up there.
So colonoscopies, they should, in the general population right now, they're covered at age 50 for people who don't have any symptoms or any family history.
Yep.
In African American men and women, it should be 45. It just tends to happen younger in the African American community, and I like to make sure my African American community is taken care of. So if I see an African American patient who's 45, I like to go ahead and tell them, go ahead and get your colonoscopy. You just saw this past year, Chadwick Boseman died at 43 of colon cancer.
Yeah.
The Black Panther. So it's happening younger and younger in the African American population. In the general population, it's happening younger and younger. I had a 42-year-old guy who came in with rectal cancer recently. 42. And it's just not supposed to happen like that, right? So you need to know, so for colonoscopy, if you're having bleeding, if you're having changes in your bowel habits, if you're having pain, if you're having any, unintentional weight loss, those are the signs that you need to have a colonoscopy to check things out. If you have a family history of colon cancer, you automatically start at age 40 or 10 years prior to the onset of the colon cancer in your family member. So if your dad had colon cancer at 45, you do it at 35. If you had it at 55, you do it at 40. So, so those are the pure screening ages. But if you have symptoms, you can go in at any time and have a colonoscopy.
Wow. This is actually really good information, because me and my dad were going back and forth about this. And he was like, you should be doing this. And I'm like, I feel like I'm too young. But now that you put it in perspective, that makes a whole lot of sense.
And that
a whole lot of sense.
A whole lot of sense. It's a rectum, as you say, a recommendation.
But it also goes right back to finding a provider that you trust and you can be open with and talk about everything that's going on with you, because your primary care provider can only treat what he knows. So the more you hold back from your primary care, the less he or she is going to know. And it's just that relationship is crucial to your healthcare.
And don't be afraid to interview your doctors.
Absolutely.
Right. And I get the question. Yeah. I get the question all the time. Oh, can you tell if I've been a bottom when I have my colonoscopy? Can you tell I'm a bottom? I'm like, honestly, no, unless there's something there that, like an anal wart, that would only be there because you had anal sex. So, there's really no way to know. So you need to tell people what's going on. You need to tell people what your experiences are.
When I tell you, I feel like I should have had a notebook, because I'm like trying to store all this information. If you all want a recap of this, we're going to have it on YouTube, but go on over to TikTok. Go to TikTok. Follow Dr. Carlton on TikTok. He posts these videos because he cares about our community. Go to TikTok, follow at Dr. Carlton. Follow his, I'm telling you, I've learned so much just in the short time that I've been following him. So go on over to TikTok and to Instagram and give Dr. Carlton a follow and watch what he says, because he knows what he's talking about.
And that's one thing that's kind of funny too. There are other people on TikTok who post videos and they have no fucking idea what they're talking about. There's a 23-year-old kid on there who has probably twice the amount of followers I do, and it drives me nuts a little bit. And he has no idea what he's saying. So he'll post something, and I'm like, "There's no clinical evidence for what you just said. I don't know what you're talking about." In the comments. But people eat it up. Like he'll go on there. He's 23. He's never used poppers before, and he's like, "You shouldn't use poppers. It's not safe." I'm like, "Well, dude, you've never used poppers. You're 23 years old. How do you fucking know?" Or
Right.
Or he has this thing where he's talking about I don't know, just a bunch of other stuff. Anyway, rather than harping on that one guy, make sure that you at least follow people on social media who know what they're talking about, who have some sort of credentials.
And start with Dr. Carlton. I'm trying to tell you, you will get a
Thank you.
laugh, you will get education, you will get humor, you will get it all. But go and follow someone who knows what the hell they're talking about. Like literally, this is what he does for a living. He's a gay man. He's got it. Okay. So follow Dr. Carlton on TikTok and Instagram. So before we begin to like wind it down, there was another question, or I don't know if it's a question or a comment, about ED. And this person writes, ED, it seems like it's happening to younger guys, ?
I agree.
Why is that?
Well, the things that lead to ED are more of a cardiovascular phenomenon. Our society is getting bigger and bigger over time. There's more diabetes. There's there's more high cholesterol. There's more hypertension. Those things all fit in with erectile dysfunction. The great news about erectile dysfunction is there's a shitload of things on the market now to make it hard. And you have to make sure that your heart is okay for this activity. And honey, listen, I'll be honest, I've tried them all, so I can tell you exactly how they do. Viagra works for about 4 hours. It takes about 30 minutes to 60 minutes to really kick in. It can give you a raging headache, but if it's the first thing you've tried to get hard, it's really effective. Cialis is a longer acting drug. We call it the weekender because it lasts about 36 hours. You take it on Friday night, it's going to do you good until Sunday. You're going to be able to get hard. I mean, the wind can blow and you'll be like, whoop.
Yes, memories of the Parliament House.
And you said that's called what?
The weekender,
Cialis.
but it's called Cialis. Yeah. Okay. All right. So there's a newer thing, and this is going to sound a little disturbing, but there's a newer thing, and I know some big name porn stars, and they use this stuff. It's called Trimix. So Trimix is a penis injection. So you have to go to your urologist. You have to learn how to do it, because you have to titrate the dose to what works to you, because you don't want to end up with priapism, where your dick is hard for like 4 hours, right? So you take this tiny, the tiniest needle possible, like a TB syringe. You inject this stuff in there, you massage it a little bit, and a minute later, your dick is fucking rocket fuel. And it will last for 2 hours. So a lot of the porn stars, when you see these these guys with massive dicks in gay porn pounding guys for a long time, they've taken a Trimix injection.
And you said that's called Trimix.
Trimix, yeah. But you have to be really careful with this stuff, because if you put too much in there, you can have a priapism. My best friend is a gay urologist, and we travel together on our gay cruises. So we have the gay community covered in our little cabin. But so we go on these gay cruises, and every single fucking gay cruise, he gets called to the medical for an emergent urological consult because somebody injected Trimix into their dick and it won't go down. So he has to do an emergency decompression.
Ooh,
which is where yeah.
Ooh.
So anyway, so anything, too much of anything can be bad, right?
Exactly.
But if you can't get hard with a pill, because some people can't get hard with Viagra or Cialis, Trimix is like, knock on wood, it's reliable.
Whew. And what's interesting, and the reason why this question or topic particularly stood out to me, is I recently was diagnosed with high blood pressure.
Sure.
And so I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on with my body. And so my doctor had talked to me about some of the stuff that you're talking about.
Right.
Uh-oh.
Well, I think one of the most important things that you just hit on there, high blood pressure. There are medications that can cause erectile dysfunction for, so if you take certain medications for blood pressure, they can actually affect your dick and make it hard to get hard. So there's beta blockers, certain other medications. So make sure if you have to go on an antihypertensive medication that you talk to your doctor about what's going to affect my sex life the least and still be effective.
Child,
so that
this
you
is
don't.
my second one, so we knocking on wood, literally.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. So talk to your doctor about what in any situation like that, what medication is going to have the least side effects for you for your sex life.
Okay, I'm calling my PCP tomorrow.
Yes.
Awesome. So listen, it is coming around past that 8 o'clock hour. Dr. Carlton, I just have to say, you are such a delightful guest.
Thank you.
You are fun. You are educational. You are funny. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for you just taking time out to be here with us. Adrian, thank you for tuning me in to Dr. Carlton. I didn't know I needed him.
Thank you, Adrian.
Always a pleasure watching your TikToks, and I continue to follow, I continue to like, and I continue to comment.
I really appreciate that. That means the world to me. And I just want to keep spreading the education to all those who need it out there.
Same here, Dr. Carlton. I mean, I think that's why the Council of Guncles actually got started, is because we all identified an area that the younger generation needs from us. And I think it's our responsibility to pass that along. So thank you so much for what you do. I follow you on TikTok, Instagram, and all of that. And
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. And one of my TikToks was, hey, listen, if you are a gay man over 40, what advice do you have to tell the younger gay community? And one of my upcoming longer form IGTV videos is going to be me reading the responses of all the people who went on there and responded.
nice.
So that we can have a nice big, hunk of information for younger gay men to look at.
That's great. Awesome.
So in keeping with that spirit, let's go on. You know how we like to end the show? We like to end the show with our message to our nibblings, right? We want to leave them with something. So Guncle Daniel has been chilling in the cut so I'm calling his ass out. So Guncle Daniel, we will start with you. After the show, what do you have to say to your nibblings that are watching your smooth baby face?
Okay, so what I've come to realize this year is that everything comes down to kind of to labels and want to box you and classify you. And there are so many people out there who care about labels. And this topic in particular has so many labels inclusive in it. So my whole thing is get tied down by what the constraints of society are, parents, whoever. If you want to explore curiosity, nothing wrong with checking that out. And labels are man-made. I think just you don't have to have labels on you. So whether you want to be bi, top, bottom, whatever these situations are, I think labels are just man-made ways to put people in boxes that don't really matter. So, I mean, it makes getting easier in the sexual community if you're doing it non-organically. But if you're just meeting people, you'll know if you vibe with somebody. I don't care if it's a woman or man. If I vibe the right way with somebody, I'm into that person. I mean, so I don't know. Go with the flow. Stop being so hung up on societal norms and things. It's not to be confused with women, who's amazing, but societal norms are not amazing. So yeah.
Thank you, Guncle Brian. What you got for the nibblings?
So, if 2020 has only taught us one thing, I think what it's taught us is a true look into ourselves and who we are. So going into 2021, what I say to you is take that information, push aside the fear, and just experience who you truly are. And that doesn't matter if you want to be with a man, a woman, both, anything. If you want butt sex or not butt sex, or just do what feels good, and right. And if you're enjoying it and you're not hurting anybody else, then there's no harm. Experience yourself.
Oh, I like that. Experience yourself. Now, can I borrow that?
You can have it.
Ooh, honey, ooh, you just gave me a little jewel there. All right, to our guest, Guncles Dr. Carlton. What do you have as your parting words for your nibblings out there, your newfound nibblings that you've created this evening? What you got for them?
I think in the same vein, stop caring what other people think about you. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks about you. Only matters what you think about you. So if 2020 has taught me anything, is I don't really give a fuck what anybody else thinks about me. I'm going to do me, and the rest of the world can catch up to that.
Okay, did he let you have it or did he let you have it? He said catch up to where he's at. And the way that you catch up is you head over to TikTok and you follow him at the Dr. Carlton. That's how you catch up.
Can I say that I'm not a TikTok yet, but I will be because of Dr. Carlton.
So that's so cool.
Out there who haven't, take a minute and do it.
Yeah, you need to.
Thank you so much.
I'm telling you, you need to. Because the thing about what I've noticed about Dr. Carlton's content, it always has a little bit, well, some of it has a bit of humor, but every single thing he posts has educational value.
That's great.
Like every single thing, like from the butt clock to lubes and latexes to all of these different things. So yeah, we're making fun, like we're having fun, but truly, if you're really looking for a resource that's going to give it to you straight, no pun intended, no chaser, Dr. Carlton is the one that's going to do that for you. And so, Dr. Carlton, again, we thank you so much for being on our show. Please connect with me. We have a very special Council of Guncles gift box on its way to you.
That's so kind.
Just to say thank you. Now, Guncle Adrian, here we go. So I saved you for last because I want you to also tell the nibblings what to expect from our January episode. Let me tell you, before I go in there, let me just tell you something about this. Guncle Adrian, he loves you guys. He loves all of y'all. He'll be up at 3, 4 in the morning messaging me ideas and people to reach out to. So I want you all to know that this is something that we are all super invested in. Like we're invested in bringing not just the key, but we're also here to bring forth the education. So Guncle Adrian, in addition to, not your last words, but to your closing statement for the nibblings tonight, can you also tell us a little bit about what we have to expect on January 27th?
Definitely. My closing words would be that there's a reason why it feels good. That pleasure is for you. Explore it. Make sure you find some room to explore your limitations and stick with that. Anyone that is going to help you find that is a good person to be around. Anyone that tries to make you feel weird about whatever feels good to you shouldn't be around. So fuck the dumb shit, do what feels good, and live a good life and be good to other people. Now, I'm excited about January. We have had a very interesting 4 years, and that change is happening on January 20th. Our January show is really dedicated to helping our alphabet mafia understand where we sit in our political environment, what we should be watching out for, what policies we should be paying attention to, how we're going to go in and make sure that our voices are heard. This is for us to get that direct information from the people who are part of the policymakers and part of the people that control that portion of our country. This is extremely important to me because it's something that's always been kept away. I've always been kept away from. And I want everyone to come back and join us and help us be healthy even in our political lives.
I absolutely love it. And I am so excited. For those of you who do not know, this was the first official Council of Guncles. Okay, so this show has transitioned since March. This show has transitioned twice. So it started in March as quarantine time, as me just talking to you guys during quarantine. Then it turned into what's the LGBT, and then it has evolved into the council. So we are so excited to be bringing you rich content every month instead of every week trying to come up with. We want to give you one good topic every month. So every last Wednesday of the month, you can catch us right here at 7 p.m. Pacific. And for my nibblings, know that I love you. Know that this is a labor of love, that I do this because I enjoy connecting with you. I enjoy you connecting with me. And I also enjoy the perspectives of the council, right? It's nice to have different views because not everybody thinks like Norman. And so it's really important for us to have a variety of Guncles, which is why we have a special guest each month. So again, to our special guest this month, we want to thank Dr. Carlton. And the way that you can thank him and the way that you can thank me is by heading over to TikTok. When you get to TikTok, click the little magnifying glass. On the magnifying glass, type in Dr. Carlton, just like this. I'm going to put it on the screen again. Connect with Dr. Carlton on TikTok. I'm telling you, it's the best thing that you'll ever do. And so to all my nibblings, know that I love you, and you already know who it is. But I don't mind giving you a slight, minuscule reminder. It's your best friend, your good Judy, your next door neighbor, your niece, your nephew, your brother, your sister, your great auntie, and also your Guncles. This has been another edition of the Council of Guncles. We will see you on January 27th, right back here, same time, same place, with your same amazing Guncles. We love you. Smooches, smooches, and yet again, smooches. Bye, guys.